everybody. I think it's about time to start. So firstly, thank you so much for coming. It's a horrible day, so thank you for trekking over from your various departments to the Vaughan Jeffreys. So thank you all for coming. Can everybody hear me, first of all? Can you hear me at the back? Great. Okay. So, as I say, thanks for coming. One thing is, this is being recorded. So if you do ask questions at the end, you just please note that your voice will be captured. So just make sure that you're aware of this. So as I say, thanks for coming. These are a series of town hall meetings now leading up to Go Live. So we're thinking about Go Live readiness. Okay, so the format is going to be that I will do a programme update, and then I'll be handing over to Andy Ferguson, who's our development and release manager, and he's going to talk a bit about how you actually access the systems on Go Live. So it'll really bring it to life, I think, you know, how exciting it's going to be on the 3rd of June. And then we've got Bron. I'm sure you all know Bron. She's the Duke from LES, and she's going to give a college perspective on how they are preparing for Go Live. We'll then have an opportunity for questions, and clearly this is the good bit, which is where you do ask the questions that have been bothering you over the period, and we will try to answer them. And often some of the questions, if they're new or really relevant, they'll go up on the intranet site under the Q&A section. Okay, so the first thing to say is that we will be going live on the 3rd of June. Everything is in place now. As you know, we had to, very disappointingly, delay Go Live from February. And that was simply because we ran out of time. But we've now had an extra 4 months. We've been using that time really, really constructively. So we now know that everything is in place to go live. That's not to say that Go Live's not going to be bumpy, because of course it will be bumpy. This is a massive, massive transformation programme. Biggest in Europe, massive amount of modules. It's really changing the way we do business. And because it's a self-service solution, clearly it's going to change the way we normally approach our work. So it will be bumpy, but I think we've got lots of things organised. We're focusing a lot on the post-Go Live arena now, and so there will always be help in order to guide us through that bumpiness. So what have we been doing in the 4 months that we've got up to the 3rd of June? Well, principally, we've been doing another round of user acceptance testing. That's really, really important because that will drive out any of the defects in the build, and people will become familiar with what those processes are. So the third iteration, the third element of user acceptance testing actually ends tomorrow. It's been divided into 2 iterations. So the first one was just new core staff doing a lot of the testing. And then the second iteration was when it went out to wider business users. The important thing about this third element of UAT was that, as you will remember, the reason we couldn't go live in February was down to the fact that we couldn't get some of our more complex integrations across the line. That meant that we couldn't test end-to-end. We couldn't test use scenarios going all the way through the module. So, for example, recruiting somebody, onboarding somebody, then somebody ordering, chemicals, and then et cetera, and then those chemicals being received, those chemicals being receipted, invoiced and paid for. So this third round of user acceptance testing has been working with all of those end-to-end scenarios, and so testing everything through the system. It's had surprisingly few defects. I think we've got less than 50 at the moment. We have to make sure that those defects that are critical for Go Live are resolved by tomorrow. So that's a big day for us tomorrow. What we're doing at the moment is looking at those defects and categorising them as those that are critical for go live, those that we can actually delay until the post go live space. But it's been a good, we've been very thankful that we've had that time, because that actually has given us confidence that the build, that the processes are in good shape. Okay, so the other thing that we have been doing is operational acceptance testing, OAT as it's called, and that's, whereas the UAT is testing the functional aspects of the solution, OAT is testing the technical aspects of the solution. So we've had a lot more time to do that, which is good. So, and that involves things like load testing to make sure that on day one, when we all log in, that it's robust and resilient. We've also been involved in planning our cutover, and so that's doing a third rehearsal of cutover in a different environment, but really replicating what's going to happen in the real cutover when we cut over to the production environment, which is the live environment. And we've been doing a lot of that, and that involves migrating a lot of the data, timing it, making sure what issues are going to arrive, resolving those issues. But essentially, the run books for the various streams, that's what will drive cutover, the real cutover. And so we've been preparing and getting really granular detail for cutover. Cutover for you lot out there will mean these sort of dates. So preparing for when the systems that you're used to using will no longer be available. These are the dates up there. I'm sure you're all very familiar with them. So HR dates are coming up fast. There's one date for finance, which is the 18th of April for new suppliers, but most of finance dates are post-Easter, and then WorkLink has a range of different dates. But they're all on the intranet. I'm sure you're all very familiar with those dates, so I won't go on about them. And I think one of the benefits of delaying go live was that we'd all actually been through cutover. So actually there's been not much noise about it at all. Everybody understands what cutover is, and everybody is just working towards it. Clearly it's going to be a very, very busy period, but everybody understands, how important this cutover period is. So, a bit about training. Training is clearly important. We were in our sessions that we had been organising post the announcement about the delayed go live. We were filling lecture theatres. Everybody was really, really keen to come to the training. Everybody suddenly understood, that they needed to understand what the system means for them. Since we made the announcement, there's been a plummet in the number of people, and that's not surprising. Clearly, we've got another 4 months. And the whole point about the training is that it's better to do it closer to go live, so you don't forget. So we're now in the space where we're encouraging everybody now to start thinking about their training needs. We've organised a lot of new training over April and May. We're doing classroom refresher training, so people who had the classroom sessions will be invited. In fact, the invites went out last week, I think. They will be invited to go back for some more classroom training. It won't be a rehash of everything you did before, although it will obviously cover aspects of this. But there will be new material as well, but it's essentially refresher training. We're also doing a series of drop-ins, and those are in lecture theatres like this largely, where you can come and you don't have to register, you can just drop in. They will be themed around things like line management, budgetary management, but also in responding to feedback we've had, we'll also be doing some role-based ones. So we're putting on specific drop-ins for PIs, for example, specific drop-ins for heads of school, specific drop-ins for OMs, operational managers, and their equivalents in professional services. So it's all about making sure you log onto the intranet and looking for the dates, and then just putting them in your diary and ensuring that you get to those, because those will give you the confidence that you know what you're doing in the run up to go live. Post go live, we will still be doing training. It's important to understand that it's a cloud product largely, and cloud is updated every quarter, and so the business processes will change every quarter potentially. And so we need to keep our business process maps up to date, but also we need to keep the training materials up to date. And when there are major changes, we will put on additional training. And also the university has somewhere in the region of 1,000 new starters every year. So clearly they need to be trained. So training doesn't just stop at go live, it's a continuous process. It's also really important, I think, that you familiarise yourself with the Canvas training content. This is an enormous array of very detailed training, and it's done on the basis of see it, try it, know it. And you can walk yourself through it, and you get tested at the end. So it's quite a good discipline to check whether you've really understood the training. But it's there. It will be there for all time. It will be updated, as I say, every time we have an upgrade. And that will be your first port of call for training needs. Clearly it's good to go to a drop-in, get a feel for the system, and then go into the Canvas and familiarise yourself with the processes that will be you can choose the processes that will affect you, that you will be doing more frequently on a daily basis or whatever. And it's very clearly laid out, so I'd encourage you all to go and use those step-by-step guides. The other important thing is to know who your super users are. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of super users here, but it's important that everybody knows their super users, because the first point of call is the Canvas material, post go live. The second port of call is going to be your super users if you get into trouble. There will also be a lot of floor walking. There will be super users based in finance office and in HR, in ITS across the university to help you. But it is important that you do firstly go to the Canvas training, because that's where everything, you can unlock everything from that page. You can find out who your local super users are by going onto the intranet. So, what will happen in the lead up to go live? Well, clearly we'll be doing a lot of go live comms. So that will be briefing packs for managers, troubleshooting guides, lots of information will be coming out, and we'll tell you more about that as closer we get to go live. But it will be very easily accessible. It won't be in IT speak. It will be easy for you to understand and give you a flavour of what needs to be done. As I mentioned about the super users and also the HR and finance super users. So when we are going live and you've gone through Canvas, you've talked to your super user, but there's still an issue, the methodology that you use to report those issues are through the service help desk, through the IT service desk. And that's the normal desk that we use now for our IT issues. That's what Andy's going to be telling you about, but that will be the route. So, the other part of our comms will be, we'll be giving you a checklist about actually what you need to do on day one. There are various things. One of the first things we'll ask you to do, and one of the first times you go into the system, we'll ask you to check your own details. We haven't done a data survey for many years, and so those details are, quite possibly are going to be out of date. I went into the system and it still had me down as divorced, but I'm married now. So, clearly, because of the changes that are going, there will be a need to update that information. It's really important that you do that. Also, you can check your contractual information. It's important that that's right, clearly. Another thing we'll be asking you to do is to submit your annual leave. So from Go Live, you'll be asked to submit your annual leave from the beginning of your leave year. So for support members of staff, it will be from the 1st of January. For academic-related members of staff, it will be from the 1st of October in the previous year. That needs to be put in. That will have to be approved by your line manager. So it will be clear then how many days left of leave you've got for the remaining period. Line managers, it will be worthwhile going in and checking that all of your team information is correct. But we will be walking you through this process by making sure that in our pre-go live comms, our go live readiness comms, that we put all of this in a checklist for you to do. Final slide. This just says that this is a self-service system. It's up to you to make sure that you know how to use the system. It's self-service, it's about nobody else can do it for you, it's about you doing it. And so this is just a plea to familiarise yourself with the system up to go live. Okay, so I'll now hand you over to Andy, who's going to talk about how to access the system.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. Can you all hear me at the back? Brilliant, great, okay. So, what I'm going to talk about today is quite exciting to some people, I think, because you've probably not seen this before, is on day one, when you get that email saying it's live, go and use it. What exactly are you going to need to do? So, for our users on campus, we're going to have 3 different ways of getting in, which you've got there. And so the first one is, we're going to make it as easy as possible for you. How many people have we got who use Windows computers in here at work? Hands up. Brilliant. Right, so for all of you, you're going to get this icon. It will appear on your desktop at probably about 1 PM on go live day, maybe a bit earlier, and it will just appear. And if you try and get rid of it, it will come back. So don't try. So double clicking on that icon is going to get you to the login page for the new system. So for on-campus use, it is as simple as that. And you'll log in using your normal university username and password, and everything should just work. And if you can't log in, then the IT service desk will be there to help you with that, also from day one. Second method, a lot of these systems have very long, complicated web addresses, or URLs as we call them. So we don't want you typing those into browsers, because it's going to take too long. So what we're going to do is, also on Go Live Day, we will publish a list of what we call friendly URLs, which are short, memorable, and easy to type. So that if you do need to get into the new system on a computer that's not your university managed Windows PC, you can just type that URL into your browser. You can also bookmark them so that you can get back into the systems again. And that will just forward you to the login page of whatever system it is you're trying to access, be that the finance and HR system, or recruitment, or WorkTribe. And that will work on anything. So if you're not using a Windows computer, if you're using a Mac, Linux computer, if you're on your phone or your iPad, you can type in the friendly URL and get through to the system. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to put these links everywhere. So all those places where you would normally go to link through to other systems, we'll put links through to all the new systems. So obviously intranet, Canvas, you all have been to Canvas already to look at training material. So we'll make sure there's links on Canvas actually through to the system. And then ServiceNow, which is the IT services website. I'm sure we've got a lot of people in here who've logged a call with the service desk before. How many? Approximately? Brilliant. Right, so for all of you, it's going to be really straightforward. If you do need to contact the service desk, I'm sure your super users will be able to help you with most things. And if there is something they can't, please contact the service desk in exactly the same way that you do now. If you usually go to the website, you'll see something that looks like this will appear on the website at the same time as the desktop icon does. And that will link you through to the system itself, to the Canvas pages with all the help and training information, and then there's also a report and issue form, and that will go straight through to a dedicated team that I'm putting together at the moment, who will be there to deal with all those issues for you. Okay, so off campus. Off campus, obviously we have some relatively sensitive information on these systems, and we know that our campus network is secure, but we don't know where else you might want to access this stuff from. So for off campus, there is an additional step, which is using the IT services remote access service. Now, I would imagine some of you are using it to access other things already, but if not, what I'm going to do is just walk you through what it is and how you would go about requesting it, so that if you do need to access any of the new systems from off campus, you can do that. So it's a request to the Service Desk website, and what I'm going to do is just, so what you would do for remote access, if you go to the IT Service Desk website, on your home page there's this big red make a request, which I'm sure quite a few of you being on the website will have requested things before. And it's up there now. You can do this. You can do this when you go back to your office today. And I have warned them that we might get 100 remote access requests earlier today. So there's a register for remote access service. Click on that. It will ask you for some information, and then 2 or 3 minutes later, you'll get an email with some instructions, which you will follow. Also, on your university computer, you should all have something that we call the application catalogue, where you can install certain bits of software from. If you're using Firefox or Chrome on your computer, you've probably used it to install those. So we also have the remote access client in there. That's available again today. You can install that on your Windows PC, and that you can then use that. If you take your work laptop home, you can use that to access the new systems from home with your work computer. You'll also be sent some instructions on accessing it via a website if you're on a personal computer. Once you've got the client, it's just a case of clicking on the connect button, and you get this box up here, and what you will do is, again, this is a university authenticated system, normal university username and password, but what you will also need to do is to use something like Google Authenticator, which will generate a little code for you, so you'll get this third box on your login screen. You won't see that on campus, but if you're off campus, you'll get that third box, and that is just to prove that you are who you say you are, that you've got your username, your password, and something that comes to your phone that you've registered with. It just gives us that additional assurance that the person accessing that data is the person that's entitled to it, and that's what we need to do. As I said, you can go and request this now. The service desk are ready to take those requests and get you all set up. If you're not already set up, I recommend doing it before day one, because you absolutely can. I think. And then, once you've done that, whichever method of access, you go through, type in your username and password, and you're in. And this is the only bit of the system I'm going to show you today. I'm going to give you any more sneak previews today, maybe a little bit closer to the time. And I think that's it from me.
Cheers. Thank you. So, welcome everybody, and for those of you who I don't know, and I know a few from my college here, I'm Bron Lord, I'm the Director of Ops for the College of Life and Environmental Sciences. To give you some context, we have about 5,000 students, we have 4 schools, and we have about 700 staff. So what I'm about to show you is just how we as a college have prepared, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Jo Quarry, who's about 4 rows down. She is our college rep, and she has done an amazing amount of job, as have the other reps. in getting the college to this position, both in terms of the cutover that we had at Christmas and also the cutover that we're about to face come next week. So if you see these individuals, they might look slightly stressed, as is the Director of Ops, but it's really down to them in terms of the work that they have all put in to ensure that we are as ready, and I'm not going to mention Brexit, as we can be to hit that 3rd of June deadline. So, as I've just said, Jo is the college rep on the Change and Engagement Board. I'm on the New Core Programme Board, so we've worked very much in partnership in getting some of those key messages out in terms of deadlines and what you need to do. So again, she has worked with my senior managers to ensure that everybody has all of the information, and with the ops managers as well, to ensure that the schools have the information too. We're all on the same hymn sheet. The super users are the ops managers, but also some of the PAs within the college, and they've been attending specialist new core meetings and also the training sessions. The training is fundamentally important to ensure that we can continue supporting the academics in the research and teaching that they undertake. Managers have been receiving classroom training. I think that's been really beneficial to have somebody sat there, and I know from my perspective, to actually just guide you through the processes around hiring and line management. They're some of the key changes that we are going to be seeing, but also the fact, as Andy has said, it's just streamlining the whole process. We've also been looking in our college in the fact that a large cohort of staff have volunteered to attend the employee training as well. So there is a general feeling that people are wanting to know more, and we're now just wanting to see it, and we're wanting to crack on with it. Presentations outlining obviously what New Core is, the benefits and how things are going to be different and what it will deliver have been given at my college operations group, but also Jo has gone out to the school exec teams and actually sat down with the heads of school, the heads of research and education, so everybody gets it. And I think it's that getting it message that is fundamentally important. And also to make sure that we don't have 25 different ways of saying exactly the same thing, Jo and her team and also the other college reps have really tried hard to work in alignment. So just if you're in COS or you're in CAL or in NVS or LES, we're all working together to deliver the same thing. And again, it's actually having those specific sessions around work tribe. If you've come from somewhere else within the last 2 years, 18 months, you will know what work tribe is. If you haven't, and you've never used it before, and this is where the academics within the college have had really good engagement, is actually understanding what work tribe can do and what it can deliver. I'm just looking at Ian there and going that, you know, the research facilitators within the teams are now fully familiar in terms of what it can do, and it will change. Also, communication, not just me stood here, but also at the same time some of the internal comms within the colleges. They've been through email, they've been through posters, there's a number of different ways, and cutover is obviously key from an operational perspective. We managed it at Christmas, we can do it again. So just reiterating Charlotte's point here, 12th of April, not that we're going to crash out of Brexit possibly, but the 12th of April is really, really important from a HR perspective. And Monique is just going to be going, oh my God, how many posts have we got yet to go out? But thinking around your CPAG processes as well, we have finished ours. We are not having any more in LES now until the 5th of June. That is a fundamental time frame where actually you need to ensure that you've got your posts approved at college level so that you are in a state of readiness to go live on the 3rd. The 3rd of May, again, this is the finance perspective, is the deadline for new suppliers. 10th of May, operationally, ensuring that all your internal orders are placed. We still need to be able to do stuff, and I'm sure we will carry on being able to do stuff, but from, again, a research contracts perspective, it's the 17th of May is the deadline. We have Easter in the middle, we also have a bank holiday Monday in May, so again, it's just making sure that you have everything in place. If you don't know what the answer is, you can ask your super users, you can ask your reps, you can ask your director of operations. We will do as much as we can to ensure nothing stops. And I'm sure it won't stop, but you just never know. You can only plan to a certain extent, and then you just have to make things happen. So, 8 weeks to go. We're actually quite excited, which, you know, sounds why. Well, we've been hearing so much about New Core that now we're just wanting to see what it can do. We're planning for the 3rd of June, as I said, and the fact it's encouraging everybody, as Charlotte said, if we can all make it work, then we can get our academics to make it work too. And it's ensuring super users, have we got enough across your college? I can't remember how many we've got, Joe, but we're talking, so it's ensuring that, you know, are those 12 going to be in your key places where you know you might have a slight problem or you might have a slightly angry academic? But just thinking how you can then support those individuals, because obviously Nucor is going to take up a large amount of their time, probably for most of June, but thinking how you can then backfill their posts if actually there are far more questions and far more issues that people are wanting to know. So as I've mentioned, Joe is my expert, but at the same time, Robbie Roberts and Craig in MDS, Brian Fryer in EPS, Erin and Cal and Julie in COS. These guys have been absolutely sensational, and at the same time, they are all working together to make sure we will make this work, and it will be absolutely amazing. That's kind of the end of my bit, but at the same time, they're the website details in terms of if you're wanting to ask questions that the three of us can't answer. But as I said, you know where I am. You can see me on the Biosciences ground floor. If you want to wave or just come up to the window, I'm more than happy to have a chat, or you can go through the door as well. So many thanks.
Okay, well thanks to my two co-presenters. I hope that's given you an enthusiasm for Nucor. As Ron says, it's only 8 weeks to go, so that will go very, very good. So this is the time where the opportunity for you to ask questions. So if you want to ask a question, could you stand up and shout, because I'm deaf?
This is probably a question for Andy. Do you have, and I appreciate there will be so many scenarios coming out from when you will go live that you can't predict for everything, but what would you expect the average response times to be from my team? I'm asking specifically because I've noticed a drop in response times in the past 6 to 8 weeks. I appreciate there might be very good reasons for it, but it would be nice to go back to staff and reassure them.
Okay, so average response times. We're putting in a new team that is the same size as the current first line support team for the service desk. So based on the fact that we have half of our first line support resources just in Nucor, I'd be confident that we can meet the published service level agreement times that we already have. It very much depends on the complexity of the query. A query that's dealt with by a first line support team, I would expect that, certainly if you're phoning up, you'd expect them to be able to deal with that in 5 minutes. But if it's a more complex query and it needs to go on to other more technical staff, then obviously that would add to the response time.
Ron, a couple of slides back, you had a list of dates, cut-off dates, and one of them said for new suppliers it was deadline for new suppliers to be uploaded May 3rd. Just to clarify, that's new external suppliers to the university, right?
Yeah, you from finance, or you?
I'm the one
Well,
that's actually going to be doing them. So
oh, okay. I was going to say, it's kind of over to you. You tell me, and we'll put that date, the new date up.
Correct. It's the 18th of May.
Oh, okay.
18th of April. Sorry.
Right. Okay, that's fine, because that came from. I can't remember who it came from in terms of the dates.
It's right on my slide, isn't it?
Yeah. So no. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, I'll just make sure that if that's ever done again, that gets changed. Yeah.
So I think that's the one finance deadline that's before Easter.
That's right.
Right. Okay.
And all of the others are after Easter.
Yeah.
Yes, Sandra?
Hi, is there a way to find out prior to go live which line managers have been allocated in a school?
Well, you should know who your line manager is. They shouldn't differ because of Nucor. So we have been collecting the line management information directly from the schools, departments, professional services, and that's what's going to be hardwired into the system. So it shouldn't be any different from your current situation.
Okay. I don't believe that my line manager has been asked and is going to be on the new call, but I'll go back and check. So that's.
Where are you from?
I'm from the Railway Group in School of Engineering.
Okay. that back, is that Brian?
Yeah.
We'll feed that back to Brian.
Would it have been Brian Fryer who would
Yeah.
have?
Yes.
So
Okay.
he would have filled in a spreadsheet, probably the size of the estate.
Right.
Likewise, Joe has. So that would
Yeah.
be, he would be able to tell you where you were
That's
in that.
perfect. That's
Yeah.
that's what I need. Thank you. Thanks.
My question is around the training post new course. I'm just really trying to understand who will be responsible for that. Is it still the new core team, and how long will that last for?
Okay. So, I don't know if everybody heard the question, but it's about training post go live. So immediately after post go live, we will be having surgeries. So similar to drop-ins, where we will have pre-arranged dates where you can just come and drop in and we can talk about your issues. So that's the sort of immediate post go live time. We will continue the drop-in, the normal drop-ins as well. We'll continue the town halls. But in terms of the actual training, that will be the responsibility of CSOT. And CSOT, as you know, is the Core Systems Optimisation Team. So this is the team of about 17 FTEs that will come into being as we transition into hypercare. And there is a training manager employed through CSOT, and it will be that person's responsibility to keep the Canvas materials up to date and to deliver any training that is needed, when business processes change, but also general training, which can be refreshing for existing staff, but also for starters, because that's a really important aspect of it. So the responsibility will remain